Hello and welcome to another Let's Play. Me, GamerWolfSix of Sileo, Tales of a New Dawn. Before we start, if you're interested in playing this game, you can get it for free on itch.io. But if you want to support the people that make this game and or get the newest version earlier, you can go to their Patreon, where it's $5 a month or $54 a year. So, on the last Let's Play, we went to a strip club, which, with Eric being there and Jay appearing, it was a bit too much for our main man, who was just like, no, this ain't our scene, even with the glory holes. No. So then we came back here, went to bed early, day 10, got double sausage. We hella gay, man. And do be like that. Sometimes. Anyways, reset my face. And start. Oh man, shit's delicious, I'm telling you. You know, I think we needed that somehow. Thanks, Diego. It's nothing, dude. Recalling our discussion shortly prior, I realized there were things yet unsaid. Alas, our monetary dispute had somewhat derailed my conversational plans. Nonetheless, there was no better time than now. Seriously though, Diego, thank you for all the times you fed me, for giving me somewhere to stay on such short notice. Seriously, it's nothing. You don't have to. For being there for me when things got difficult the other night, even though you've got your own shit you're dealing with. I'm sorry about that. By the way, it's unfair to you that you have to shoulder my burdens as well. Hey, shut up for a minute. I looked up at Diego, giving him the silence he requested, and patiently awaiting for his response. Worst thing about the few weeks before you got here was that I had so much time to just bleed, you know? Ty gave me some time off, and it's been a while since Lucas last needed me, and I get it. You need to take some time to deal with your shit. Just, get it out of your system and all that. But I wound up in this loop of grief, going over and over the same damn things in repetition, each cycle hurting as much as the last. I try to keep myself busy, playing video games and stuff, but there wasn't a single damn thing that could get my mind off it for anything more than brief moments. I thought for sure you'd butt dialed me, but nope. And you know what's weird? All I could think about, at least for a bit. Wait, that's all I could think about, at least for a bit. I couldn't wait to see you again. I couldn't wait to see you too. It was scary, but really exciting too. I can imagine. Ever since having you around, spending time with you, working with you, helping you with your problems, that's something I can focus on. Something that keeps me from just sitting here, crying into a tub of ice cream, or whatever. I guess everyone deals with these things differently. I feel like I've done all the grieving that can be done. There's not a whole lot left to process. It's like there's a little left for me to gain. All I'd be doing is putting myself through the same pain again and again for little benefit. But it's hard, you know? You can't help but agonize over these things. But I know there's not much point, so instead, it's kind of like I made a call. I'm done hurting without good reason. I ain't gonna let that shit cast a shadow over my life, you know? I refuse to agonize over that shit, and having you here, it's helping with that a lot. I hadn't thought about Diego's situation in that light. I couldn't help but break into a smile, knowing that I'd not only avoided being a burden, but had been a beneficial addition to Diego's routine and circumstances. He was still going to take my damn money though. I'm really glad to hear that, Diego. You know, if you need even more of a distraction, Maybe it's time to get back into the dating game? What better to distract you from a rough past with someone than an exciting future with someone different? Is that gonna work? Or is that what we're doing? In a colossal failure to contain himself, Diego broke into a loud, boisterous laughter. I scratched my head, not understanding what Diego found so amusing. Thankfully, he went on to clue me in. Are you nuts? No way, dude. Don't get me wrong. If the right guy came along, maybe I'd make an exception. But it's like I said, I'm done hurting without reason. But it doesn't mean I want to ignore the whole ordeal. It doesn't mean I want to force myself to forget. Wait, it doesn't mean I want to force myself to forget, you know? They're the kinds of wounds that will continue to bleed for as long as I let them. At some point, you just gotta make a call. Not so soon that things are left unfinished, but not so late in that you've prolonged your suffering unnecessarily. I feel like it's the right time. It's been rough. Hell, it still is. But your timing couldn't have been better. You're the right thing at the right time. I'm super lucky to have you here. So, thanks, Adrian. It's kinda like fate, or karma, or something is looking out for me, you know? Figured I've been through enough. Was high time things started turning back around. I can read. I had tried to thank Diego for all he had done in the days past, and yet somehow he winded up thanking me instead. I was thrilled that my presence had been such a positive thing for Diego. I couldn't help being frustrated that he wouldn't accept my own gratitude, verbally or financially. Like, for some reason my mind was that verbally or physically. It's like, that's not the word. You're a pain in the ass when it comes to accepting gratitude. You know that? I'm glad, though. The last thing I ever wanted was to be a burden. At the very least, knowing that being helpful to you, maybe, I feel a little less guilty. I mean, what do I say, dude? So, keep your thanks. And your damn money. For that matter. I ain't taking it. Fine. Naturally, Diego could only refuse the money over my dead body. I simply had to get a little creative with how it would wind up in his possession. So, we both got working a little while, right? It came as an unusual reminder that set off butterflies deep within my guts. A reminder that I'd soon be required to confront Ty. I was nervous about seeing him once more, and scared of what that encounter might entail. Maybe we should call in sick? Oh, it's raining a bunch. I was like, what is that noise? It's raining. Come on, dude. If you want the answers to those burning questions, you gotta be courageous. I know. You have a couple of hours to burn beforehand, at least. Maybe you're in need of a good distraction too, eh? Want me to suck your dick? I mean, maybe you should head to town or something. Find some way to stay busy. And what are you gonna do? Me? Sit on my fat ass and watch TV, I guess. Huh. I didn't rightly know if Diego's suggestion would serve its intended purpose, but in the absence of better ideas, I decided to go along with it. Yeah, alright. Maybe there's something happening that'll take my mind off things. Right on, dude. Have fun. I bundled up my trash left over from my meal, placing it tightly alongside Diego's pile, before rising to my feet and stretching my limbs in dramatic fashion. I'm gonna get changed and rolled out when I see then. We'll see you at work. Wait, I'll see you at work then? Yeah, dude. Catch you there. I departed the living room, changing my clothes in the spare room and applying some cologne. It was nice. It wasn't as nice as the brand Ty wore, but I hoped it might at least appeal to him in some way. Then I pocketed my belongings and set off in the general direction of town, not yet knowing where my final destination would be. Like that one movie, Final Destination. I'm not gonna go with him. Going to the cheetah cheeks. As unimaginative as I was, I struggled to come up with a viable way to pass my time. This lack of imagination had led me to the mall, and upon noticing the arcade, I shrugged to myself. Why not? After all, it would be a good opportunity to get some practice on Chrono Calamity. Diego would be needing a fierce player too if he wanted to clear the final boss. Entering the arcade, I was hardly surprised to run into Axel once more in this funky jam thing. Are we gonna see Black Dynamite here? Or what was that one like weird James Bond Live and Let Die? Like, never mind. It seemed almost like the arcade was a second home at this point. Adrian, hi! Hey Axel, killing time? Yep, finished my deliveries for the morning, so I came here to pass the time. What about you? I've got an hour or so to burn before I start work. Figured I'd come here, distract myself. I see. Feel like playing some Chrono Calamity? It looked fun last time. I think I'll give it a shot. Sure thing. I kinda suck at it though. It's okay. We can learn together. Alright, deal. Let's do it. We took our positions in front of the screens and drew our weapons. So, what do I do? Well, see that panel on the floor? You press that with your foot to move out of cover. You've got to be careful though. You can only shoot out of cover, but the bad guys can also shoot you. You shoot off screen to reload, and if you see any pickups, shoot them to pick them up. Oh, and watch out for the red flashes. They mean the enemy's gonna hit you. Duck behind cover as quickly as you can. Jeez, that's a lot to remember. Oh come on, you'll do fine. We begin the first level. A shootout starting at the hotel, moving into the city streets outside. Axel seemed to quickly get a hang of it until... Hey, you shot me! Oh, that was you? Yeah, that was me. Shoot the bad guys instead. Sorry. We continue for a bit, clearing the first level with Axel, dying a short way into the second. I continued for a little longer, but eventually died myself. That was fun. Yep, shall we play another round? Yes. Just don't shoot me this time. Our second attempt went only a little better than the first. I made it to the boss on the second stage and nearly managed to kill him solo. Alas, a single cheap shot at the end of the fight concluded the battle. Oh, bad luck. He almost had him. Yeesh. I'm never gonna get Diego on Diego's level at this rate. Practice makes perfect, right? Yeah, you're right. Maybe next time we'll get even further. I look forward to it. I reached into my pocket, checking the time on my phone. I was due to start work in 20 minutes or so. It was time for me to leave. Looks like I'm out of time. Thanks for hanging out with me, Axel. I had a good time. Likewise, I had fun. See you when I see you, Axel. Bye. I wanted to end this early just in case, we didn't have enough time. But I guess we have to go here. Maybe, it'll be a quick scene change if it's up to 30 minutes. I had arrived. Diego was already behind the counter, twiddling his thumbs methodically as he patiently waited for customers in need of service. As the entry bell rang, my arrival secured Diego's attention, which was warmly accompanied by a cheerful smile. Geez, dude, you're cutting it a little fine. Didn't want to come in that badly, huh? It wasn't deliberate. I guess I just lost track of time. Sure. Anyway, Ty's in the kitchen if you want to talk to him. Not sure about when to, if I'm honest. I gotcha. Gotta rip that bandit off though, Get it over with. I guess you're right. Wish me luck then. Knock him dead, bud. I said to myself with several deep breaths. I felt no less nervous than before, but knew there was naught to be gained from putting this off any longer. I passed through the swinging doors, stepping into the kitchen. As, and, as anticipated, Ty was exactly where Diego had said he'd be. His back was turned to me as he diligently diced a variety of vegetables before loading them into a pot, filled to the brim with some kind of broth. Kind of want to play cook serve delicious, but anyways, he hadn't noticed my arrival. I dug up some much needed courage before calling out his name. Ty? Oh my. You startled me, Adrian. How long have you been standing there? Oh, I only just arrived. Ah, good. Well, I'm pleased to see you. Are you well? As well as I can be, all things considered. Yes, I understand. Now tell me, how are things looking out there? In the bar? Well, I think Diego is about to die from boredom. Ah, excellent. Well, not the dying part, obviously, but it does permit us the opportunity to discuss, well, I'm sure as you know as well as I do. Yeah, I do. But the kitchen is hardly the ideal setting for such conversation. Please, follow me to my office. But aren't you cooking vegetables? Ty led me to the door in the opposite end of the kitchen. It struck me that I had never before seen his office. I pondered what to expect as he pulled the wooden door ajar, leading me inside. It was like, I don't know, could this have waited? I don't know. Ty closed the door and slid the lock across before motioning me to take a seat. I obliged, sitting in the chair opposite the desk, soaking in my surroundings. His office was meticulously tidy and very modern, not unlike his home. I noted the gentle rattle of air vent in the ceiling above. One thing I kind of missed from an old house was the rattling of the air vent, where it sounded like there was some kind of tiny marble or something rolling around in there. I just like that sound. It seemed as though a breeze from the outside was passing through, keeping the office fresh and cool. I was sure the rattling would get on my nerves, but otherwise I found myself quite fond of the environment. You've got a nice office, Ty. Ty beamed happily as he took a seat opposite of mine, and rolling his chair inward before responding. I'm glad you think so. A friend of mine thinks otherwise, instead preferring more old-fashioned design sensibilities. It was nice to have someone whose opinion carries such weight agreeing with me. But discussion of such topics can wait for another time. I'm sure you'd rather get to the matter at hand, yes? I wasn't so sure. I was still nervous, but Diego had been right. I had to put myself out of my misery, for better or worse. I sighed before delivering my response. Yeah, so, I have been thinking long and hard about everything that has transpired, and I know that, first and foremost, I owe you a big apology. My heart sank as my mind jumped to conclusions. An apology? Did this mean he didn't want to continue? Was I about to be dumped once and for all? I know I said a couple of days back, but I feel the need to reiterate. I had a lot on my mind, a lot of stress, a lot of confusion, just a lot of things were and still are happening. I leapt into, well, us, with the best intentions, but I quickly found myself to be rather overwhelmed. For that, I apologize profusely. It's nothing you did, nor had any control over. That I assure you. The burden of that lies entirely on my own shoulders. I am so very sorry for having caused you such heartache. I can read. But I don't deserve. I can read completely misreads the sentence. You did not deserve any of this. I let you down. I didn't know what to say or how to respond. Instead, I elected to allow Ty to finish what he was saying in the hope that I have a response prepared by his conclusion. And, well, it's just like I said, I wanted to make sure I was doing it for the right thing, for the sake of everybody, and I want you to know that if you cannot forgive me for what I have done, I understand. I will take the consequences of my actions on the chin. I will have only reaped what I have sown. However, I have given us much thought, and I cannot allow my struggles, my emotions, and my fears to compromise either of our opportunities in finding happiness. As such, I humbly beg you, are you able to find in your heart to forgive this foolish tiger? May I be permitted an opportunity to make things right? Tai smiled, the beginning of tears forming in his eyes, his lip quivering ever so slightly as he patiently waited the answer. Did he really want me back? After all the things he said when? All the things he said when? No, he never said those things. Those are my fears, my insecurities, my doubts. The tie I witnessed in that nightmare was the furthest thing from reality. Yet, I nonetheless bore those wounds, and I need to know how Tai truly felt before I could give him my answer. Tai? Yes, Adrian? Why? Why? I do not understand. Yeah, I don't understand a lot of things. Why me, of all people? Someone who's nothing to call his own. No house, no car, no belongings, or assets. All of my income comes from you and Lucas. And if it weren't for your recommendation, I doubt Lucas would even have hired me in the first place. And look at you. You're such an incredibly attractive guy. You're stunning. And I don't hold a candle to you. Your looks, your body, anything. And I'm so much younger and more inexperienced than you. Adrian, I just don't understand. Why me? Why not someone so much better? You're so far out of my league. I don't even come close to deserving you. Tai stood up from his chair, moving into position next to me. I stood up to meet his gaze, our noses only inches from one another. Then Tai pulled me into his warm embrace. Okay, that's the thumbnail. Was it 22? Adrian, why would you say such awful things? Because they're true, aren't they? I don't understand what you see in me. I don't understand why. Tai held me tighter than before, as what little composure I had left escaped me. I began sobbing uncontrollably into his shoulder as I felt his tears run down the fur on top of my head. Adrian, in the short time we have known one another, you have been quite easily one of the sweetest, kindest, most charming men I have ever met. I delight in your presence and adore your personality and sense of humor. You have a flawless body, and because ours differ is simply not an indication of inferiority. Quite the contrary. There's nothing more attractive to me than a smaller, well-defined frame such as yours. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. I didn't believe what I was hearing. Surely Tai was just buttering me up, saying whatever he needed to say in an attempt to dry my tear-filled eyes. What kind of man would I be if I cared about your wealth and status? Sure, they're nice things to have, but if you choose your potential partners using such a metric, you will only doom yourself to an unhappy and lonely existence. As for your age, come now, to find someone of your age as handsome and charming as you are with whom I feel such an affinity towards is akin to having won the lottery. I struggled to speak between my unrestrained sobs as Tai gently petted the back of my head, my tail swishing uncontrollably from side to side. Shut up. You're just saying that. On the contrary, while I may seem I am in the business of flattery at times, I can promise you I have not exaggerated one iota. My opinion of you simply could not be any higher. To me, and my own preferences, you simply could not be more perfect. I chuckled through my tears. I still didn't rightly know if I could trust his word. But he was, at the very least, doing a terrific job of being a shameless flirt. And, after all, he wanted me back. I apologize. I have no shortage of fanciful words, and yet I feel as if those words are failing to connect with my true feelings. I only hope that you know that I have nothing but the utmost admiration and respect for you. A disappointed sigh escaped Ty's lips as he shook his head, dissatisfied with his perception of how he had handled the situation thus far. Seeming perhaps somewhat defeated, his words betrayed more than a hint of fear and doubt. It's like I said then. If you need time to process everything, I understand. And if, after everything, you do not wish to proceed, that too I understand. But... Finally he kissed him. It's like, seriously, my dude. He's been up in your guts. You need to at least kiss him. I deserve a response, by the way, of the boldest and most ambiguous gesture I could muster, pulling Ty in a deep, loving, and passionate kiss. At first, this caught him off guard, but before long, he had returned my gesture with a comparable loving passion to my own. We remained locked in that kiss for an eternity, our bodies pressed together, as I could feel Ty's heart beat in his chest. My confidence bolstered, I boldly slipped my tongue into his mouth. With the gesture, he almost immediately reciprocated. Okay, you're having a nice loving moment, you don't need to do tongue. As I leaned into his body, Ty's weight shifted backwards, so that he was seated on top of his desk, a messy pile of papers crisping his considerable glutes. As we continued our show of passion, my hands began to wander, working their way up and down Ty's side. Hey, don't have sex in the office, you're working. Incidentally, his own hands followed suit, exploring my chest and back before eventually coming to rest with his hands atop my backside. Finally, the two of us separated, our eyes locked as they moved apart with a happy, loving smile worn on each of our faces. Oh, Adrian, you had me so worried. I feared you would never take me back, that I'd blown my chance. Speak for yourself. I fully expected you to call things off today. I'm so very, very sorry for everything I've put you through. I know I can never begin to make that up to you. You can make it up to me by never pulling another stunt like that again. Of course, you have my word. That said, I still feel as though some additional repayment is in order. Oh, you don't have to. How do you feel about camping? Camping? Under the stars and the wilderness with Ty? It sounded like a proposal I could easily get behind. I like the idea. Very good. I will supply everything we require. You need only bring your perfect self. Do you have any friends you'd like to bring along? Oh? I had initially pictured some kind of romantic getaway. His suggestion of bringing company seemingly skewered that idea. Indeed, I hope it's not to your disappointment. I simply wish to be cautious, you see? I would not want to take things too quickly and risk blowing the second chance that I'm so lucky to have been given. Yeah, I understand. I'll ask around. Terrific. I'm looking forward to it most enthusiastically. I was a little disappointed, but I suppose that Ty had a point. Things had moved fast, and I didn't know whether this had any bearing on what had happened. I would just have to trust Ty on this one. Anyway, I trust we have addressed everything that needs addressing. Yeah, I think so. Very good. Then we shall both return to our duties. These soups I have been preparing will not cook themselves. Okay, I think I'll head back out. You know where to find me, if you need me. Of course, should I need to bask in the majesty of such flawless visage, I may just indulge myself in the peek through the serving window. I chuckled and smiled at Ty, who returned a familiar, cheeky grin. I then turned away and departed his office, and the kitchen, turning to the bar. And with that, and us hitting directly 30 minutes, that's a good time to call it. And my ability to read being adequate. So, end of this. Let's place a comment. As I like comments. Tell me what you like, dislike. Sorry, yawns. Tips, tricks, otherwise. If you like my YouTube and would like to see grow, then please like, subscribe, and check out the latest epic grow. And please remember to spay your animals to help control the pet population. And if you want to play this game, it's available free on itch.io. But if you want to support the people that make this game and or get the newest version earlier, you can go to their Patreon, where it's $5 a month or $54 a year. And until next time, another Let's Play by me, the GamerWolfSix, a Sileo, Tales of a New Dawn. And remember to save. Boop. So thanks and see ya.